Welcome back to the channel and Happy New Year to you all. Now we're back in Lorville today, and basically I'm just going to talk a little bit about Star Citizen, but primarily going to do a little bit of a FPS check. If you look in the top left hand corner, you'll see some MSI Afterburner info, and first of all, I'll let you know my system. Now, my system is pretty high end, probably not the highest end amongst people playing Star Citizen, but probably a lot higher than a lot of people. Now, I'm running a 5930K, which is a few years old, so obviously you probably get some better FPS out of one of the newer Intel or AMD chips, but it's still pretty much of a beast CPU. Now for graphics, I'm running a 1080 Ti, an Acer Strix, so that's pretty beastly still. 32 gigs of RAM, and I'm running Star Citizen off one of those Intel Optane drives, so they have come down a bit in price. You can probably get an M.2 drive cheaper, and that will run Star Citizen pretty quick as well. I'm running at a resolution of 2560 by 1440 on a G-Sync monitor. Now, I've done these FPS tests before, but it's always interesting to see what I'm getting on my system, and especially in these built up areas like Lorville, because it is in the built up areas where the FPS still does struggle a little bit compared to when you're out flying above the planet surfaces or in space. But of course the OCS, Object Container Streaming, has really helped a lot over the past few months. Been one of the main achievements really for me over the past few months. Getting that into the game has certainly helped a lot of people play the game who otherwise would have been playing well, pretty much a slideshow. That wouldn't have been good for anybody. So as we go out into one of the main areas at Lorville, always nice to have a look at these tremendous graphics here. Really is atmospheric. You can't deny that they've done a terrific job with the environment here at Lorville and the whole planet of Hurston. Really good achievement, well worth waiting for. Now, one of the things I am looking forward to seeing over the next year is the actual improvements in AI. Now, at the moment, we've got a lot of NPCs basically hanging around. They're just basically scenery, because they've got very basic AI where they're just moving from place to place. So the guards as well. I think a lot of the improvements for AI is going to come from the work they're doing from Squadron 42. The Squadron 42 roadmap does actually give quite a few details of the improvements they need to do, and obviously they do need a lot of working AI for that game, whether it be flying ships, being your wingman, or maybe doing some FPS combat with the AI. Maybe you'll have some AI buddies along with you. Now obviously this will cross backwards to the persistent universe with Star Citizen, whatever work they do on Squadron 42. So that's going to be most welcome to see. Now I think we'll make our way over to maybe the business district. Let's see if I'm going the right way. I usually get lost here. As you can see, we have got a lot of NPCs, but they just haven't got any AI at the moment. Now, one of the improvements I want to see going forward is to some of the missions in the game, because sometimes you can be playing them and they don't always work to what they're supposed to. But you know, sometimes they'll work, sometimes they don't. But that is the game at the moment, and I'm really saying that because there's been a lot of new players coming into the game, and they seem to be enjoying it from what I've seen on social media. You know, obviously they're impressed with the fidelity.
Stand by and let passengers disembark before boarding. Security reserves the right to search travelers.
But they shouldn't be disappointed if some of the missions don't always work. You know, that is how it is at the moment. Certainly work in progress. And remember that any progress you do make in the game is likely to be wiped when the next major patch hits. So by all means, do the missions, mine to your heart's content, sell cargo everywhere. But bearing in mind that it's all only temporary, your progress, and you are really here to test the game.
Next stop, Central Station.
Now hopefully my voice is coming across well, because I'm trying to fight against the actual station announcer there. Might have a look at one of the new helmets in the game here. See if I can... There you go, very Predator-like, this one. She got a green tinge here, I think it's the lighting. Yeah. As you can see, wouldn't be out of place in the Predator movies. Very, very frightening, this one.
Central Station.
But like a crossbow bolt stuck through your earlobe. Seems pretty painful to me. Now, I've actually forgot to keep an eye on the FPS, but it's pretty holding up fairly well at over 40, 50 FPS. I'm sure for most people on lower graphics cards, they're probably getting still at 30 FPS, which if you said that you would get that a year ago in Star Citizen, you'd be rolling around laughing on the floor, because it has really taken some major work to get the FPS up to acceptable levels. Now this whole area, as we get manhandled by one of the AI here, is really impressive. You know, the actual design of it, these gold statues. The ambience of it all in this area is really very nice. that backdrop, very impressive. Now, as for the future of Star Citizen going forward, I think it's going to probably be a couple of months before we see 3.5 probably first on the Evocati PTU. That should offer a new planet, ArcCorp, and the Area 18 landing zone. Now that's ArcCorp is a planet where it's entirely covered by a huge city, a bit like that one in Star Wars. What was it, Coruscant or something like that? Now obviously I don't expect us to be able to land everywhere, but it should look pretty impressive, the Area 18 landing zone, and I'll be more than happy just to be able to land in an area like we do in Lorville at the moment, even if you can't go everywhere. If we look around here, this is really very impressive. Now this is the Hurston Dynamics building, I believe, or is it? Is it that building which you can see from the outside? Anyway, this is the home of the Hurston Corporation. Obviously they've made some serious money on this planet, probably responsible for some of its environmental failings.
Reminder, employees are not allowed to access executive areas without prior authorization. Trespassing is a punishable offense.
Now we can get a look at some of the members of the Hurston family. Obviously some of these have long since departed, but does give you a sense of the lore behind it, and they really have done a lot of work really to make this like a real living, breathing environment. Yeah, for well over 5 centuries, the Hurston family has continuously committed themselves to humanity's protection by providing the best available defensive capabilities to the UEE military and dedicated patriots everywhere. So there you go. They've made a lot of money from selling arms. That doesn't ever grow old, does it? Now I'm going to the showcase here. I think I've done a quick video on this before, but I never done an FPS check. As you can see, we're well over 50 FPS now, 47, 50 FPS. Now in this area there's lots of weapons which they manufacture for ships and that on display. Obviously some really big weapons here. Look at the size of them. So some well worth coming to see this. Now if we come out of here and go over to the other side, what is a lovely touch actually, just to highlight the detail they've actually put into this area, is that they've look at that sort of like a water wall there. Going to maybe third person. It's go up. There you go. That's gets a better view of it there. So we'll exit this weapons display area. Go over to the where they're doing the stock broking, stock dealing, and have a look at the new mission giver, one of the new mission givers in 3.4. Now sometimes the missions are only given once you've gained a certain reputation, and as I've said before, sometimes they can be a little bit frustrating, that they don't always work. Now at the moment I should imagine that the people at CIG, the devs, are now back at work after New Year, and I do fully expect that there will be a patch to 3.41, I think we're at now, to cure some of the bugs, you know. Some of the ones which are very common, which are in the patch notes, are like the canopies in ships opening just randomly. Some of the usual ones, like being killed by the freelancer Max's ladder. That's happened to me. Who hasn't been killed by a ladder in Star Citizen now and again? And a few others, no doubt. Private trading suite there, not for the likes of me. And we'll go up to have a look at I think his name, is it Archibald Hurston? Now he sits in this office. Now there's pictures of the Hurston family here. Some of these, as you can see, Magda, obviously the moon's named after her. Aberdeen, same again there. Ariel. So yeah, Stanton system is a corporate system. It's a system which the UAE sold to private industry, and obviously each corporation took over a planet and basically done with it what they wanted to. Let's have a word with this guy. He probably won't say anything to us.
I'm neck deep in requisition orders. I don't have time to talk.
So he doesn't really want to give us a mission at the moment, unfortunately. Let's see if we can get a closer up view of him.
Did my cousin send you to do this?
I think he's getting irritated with us. There you go. Sometimes the camera can be a bit glitchy. So yeah, he's fairly detailed. Not sure he's as impressive, or he's certainly not as creepy as Wallace Klim, if you've seen that video. Well, I do actually appear in that myself. Always a bit of extra work getting the green screen out, so we keep that special occasions. But yeah, he's certainly too busy for the likes of us. So that's a look at, I think it is Archibald Hurston. Well, he's a Hurston anyway, so he'll probably get irritated if we go back round here. No, he's just ignoring us totally now. We're still in the high 40s, now touching 50 FPS. Now obviously this is the trading boards. I'm sure in the future these will have be updated in real time, I guess. Still a fair way to go before we see that. Now looking beyond 3.5, I spoke about that earlier with ArcCorp. I think they're as for planets, I think the next up is Microtech. I think the most important things to me are obviously, and to a lot of people, is the new flight model, which should come in 3.5. Obviously we've seen that in the Squadron 42 roadmap as well, because that will share the same flight model. That'd be very interesting. It should certainly give everybody a lot of material to actually make videos on. Anyway, I think we'll go back to the main area of Lorville now. See how the FPS holds up. Now I'm sure most people are still playing at 1080p, so your frame rates will probably be better than this, even on probably lower spec hardware. I'm sure in the future, as graphics technology improves, it'll be easier to run higher resolutions on lesser priced graphics cards, and I'm hopeful by the time Squadron 42 comes out, maybe 2 years, it depends on the roadmap. Oh look, there's a real player here. I like that armour, look at that. It's Iron Man, isn't it? I'm sure by the time that comes out there'll be a lot more competition. Oh look, we could just miss the train. There'll be a lot more competition in the graphics card market. I think AMD will probably have something to compete with Nvidia, and Intel themselves are actually actively developing their own dedicated GPUs. They've actually got a lot of the talent who used to work at AMD now working for Intel, so hopefully that should actually lower the price of higher end GPUs, you know, because obviously the 2080 Ti is just I'm not the only one to say, or is a ridiculous price, to be honest. Anyway, while we wait for the train, is that the train coming? I've got to get to the other side. Oh, this'll do. Great. We get on the train and let the train take the strain. And maybe I'll be quiet for a sec. Now as we come back to the main metro area of Lorville, now this is an interesting area. As you can see, it's got a lot of atmospheric smog effects here, and as you can see, this is an area where the FPS does does tank. Obviously, that's the effect of the smog effect that they're using. Obviously, an area where they can optimize the code. But one thing that this is why I wouldn't advise, unless you're playing a lot of games at the moment and you are desperately in need of an upgrade for a computer, I wouldn't just upgrade your computer at the moment, not just for Star Citizen Squadron 42, because it's still a fair way away. Alright, if you've got money to burn and you really enjoy playing the Alpha at the moment and you want the best performance, yeah, by all means do it. But as I said earlier, by the time Squadron 42 is available, there's going to be a lot better value available, and the power will obviously be well, significantly higher. And I've said this before, what is out in 2 years' time will make the 2080 Ti look run of the mill. It's the way technology goes, and so interesting this area here with that dip there because of the smog. But hey, that's the way the technology goes at the moment, and I think we all know that Star Citizen is a fair way out. Hopefully, within the next year, we can get close to the Stanton system being complete and some of the core professions getting into the game. But I do anticipate it that Squadron 42 will be is the main priority, I think, for them at the moment. Get that game out, get that selling, get ported to the next generation of consoles, and it will help to bring in funds. That's the economics of it, because you can't rely on selling spaceships basically all the time. There's I'm wondering actually how they come up with the ideas for more ships, because you got variants of all the major ships at the moment. I guess there's always room for another set of ships from a different manufacturer, but must be difficult to come up with some of these ideas now, as we get so many ships in the game, and of course still quite a few which we've not seen the light of day, like the Carrick and Banu Merchantman, but I think they are working on those. Right, well, for comparison, I'm going to now make my way over to the teaser spaceport, if I can find my way. I got lost in the smog. That's a dead end here, so we've got to go back up. Now this area is the lowest FPS, I believe, in Lorville. I think it's a smog and a lot of NPCs just milling around. Maybe a little bit of because if you look actually at top left hand corner, the amount of RAM I'm using, there may well still be, because it was, I think they said before that there was a memory leak, and I'm using 15.5 gigs of RAM here, so that's a lot, isn't it? Although I've got 32, most people would only have 16, I think. So that might be something there for them to look at. Thankfully, RAM prices are actually not as quite as high as they were over the past year, so that's always a worthy upgrade with more RAM. So we want to go to the station, so we can make our way to the teaser spaceport, and we can compare the FPS here to when we actually get away from Lorville and speed across the surface of Hurston. Oops, he's a shaking NPC there.
Welcome to Metro Center. Transfers to the perimeter, spaceport, and industry lines. Security reserves the right to search travelers at any time. Stand by and let passengers disembark before boarding. Be considerate to your fellow travelers. Do not block doors.
Right, we're going to take the train to the teaser spaceport, and I'm going to be quiet for a little while.
Step away, fellow travelers. Do not block doors. Next stop, Tisa Spaceport. Now arriving, Tisa Spaceport. Please watch your step when disembarking the train. Hurston Security reserves the right to search travelers at any time.
Keep it moving.
Our planetary ecosystem is precious to us. Declare any flora and fauna to customs agents. Do not accept any Hurston employees as passengers without valid travel papers. By agreeing to customs protocols, you are subject to all Hurston law and can be prosecuted for violations.
Right, we've arrived at the teaser spaceport. Have a quick look around here. A little bit more of a dip here in FPS. Always a spectacular scene here. Always nice to have a look at some of these ships on display here. I think these are the ones you can buy in-game with UEC. I think, if you, yeah, what's that? Yeah, even the Mustang, that's going to take you a while to get. They should really make them rentable for less, really. I think they done something like they tested that, didn't they, when they had that anniversary expo that you could rent the ships. That's a hammerhead. I've actually got one of these as a loaner. Not actually ever been on it. It was that's one thing, as I'm playing alone a lot, I really need to, as things actually, as there's more into the game in Star Citizen, I need to actually get in with a group of people more to actually man one of these larger ships, because I don't think, you know, trying to fly one of these on your own isn't really the optimum use of such a ship. One day there'll be AI to help you, but you know, that is a long way off. Got to get the AI working in Squadron 42 first before we see any of that advanced AI in the PU. So maybe I need to find some friends to play with. Hopefully you didn't hear that motorbike which just came down the road here. Very impressive ship. This whole area is that you do get a lovely lovely view. I'm looking forward to actually seeing what they do with the Planet Ark Corp. As I said earlier, you can't expect that you'll be able to go everywhere, but it's going to look pretty spectacular. You can basically count on that. Let's look at the size of the guns on that hammerhead. That's pretty impressive. The frame rate's pretty decent as well now, as we get to this area. Right, I think we better go and get a ship and compare the frame rate when we get away from Lorville. You'll see that it does rise significantly, and whether they can optimise the OCS anymore for these built up areas remains to be seen. Certainly they've done a great job outside, as we see. Let's get a ship. Probably got a few ships here. Hurston, stored Hurston. Sabre Raven's always a nice ship. Hangar 5. Always remember what hangar you're going to. take the elevator down. It's an interesting time of year actually at the moment, because the CES show is going on in Las Vegas, so you get a lot of tech news come through TVs, news from tech companies like AMD and Intel and Nvidia. That's pretty interesting that Nvidia are now going to support FreeSync on their GPUs with one of their upcoming drivers. So FreeSync monitors, that is. They're supposed to have tested some, and they're definitely going to be compatible. So that's going to be well worth keeping an eye open to see. God, it's quite noisy in here, so hopefully you can hear my voice. Yeah, that's going to be worth keeping an eye open, because some of those FreeSync monitors, if they're definitely going to be compatible when you've got an Nvidia graphics card, certainly a lot better price than their G-Sync counterparts. So that's good news. Right. This is the actual ship I actually got with the drive, and there you go, you can see that's the well-known bug which is in the patch notes, where the canopy keeps opening. It doesn't actually harm you or anything, it tends to just shut the canopy and ladder automatically. So that's one of those bugs which I expect they'll get round to. Right, let's ask for permission to launch. It's noisy in here, so hopefully you can still hear me. I've lowered the sound settings as well.
You are cleared for liftoff.
Thank you very much. Right, I need my joystick. I use actually a combination of keyboard, joystick and controller. I never use the throttle on my joystick now though. That's because I had trouble in the past with Star Citizen. Right, hangar doors are open. So up we go. There we go, we got that bug back. Always impressive to get above Lorville in a ship. Just watch those red zones of death. Actually, amazing game, Star Citizen. Just to actually take screenshots, you can do that all day long. It really is pretty impressive. So it'll be interesting as we get away from Lorville. See, the FPS will probably pick up quite considerably. So a quick drop of cold tea. So overall, Oh, there we go. That bug's back again. There it goes shut. It's a random one. That it's probably just a couple of lines of code which keeps coming in randomly. Yeah, basically I think that the end of 2018 has seen Star Citizen turn a corner. Maybe it was a year of frustration, maybe longer, while they waited to get some of this performance into the game, and obviously the new planet of Hurston. That certainly has drawn in a lot of new players, as I've seen on social media. I think I've said that before, and most of those seem to be pretty positive. Obviously they haven't had to put up with some of the delays and some of the things which obviously timelines hasn't been a Star Citizen's strong front over the years. But as long as you just fully accept that the game is what it is progressing. It is a slow path, but what we got now is the beginnings of something pretty extraordinary. It's just a question of waiting for what's to come. As we see that FPS go up as we get away from Lorville, and we see the improvements they've made to the OCS system really show its head here. So well over 60 FPS, actually higher with the cockpit view. So with that, I think we'll end this little performance test, and obviously me talking randomly about a few things Star Citizen. Obviously, if you'd like to subscribe, please do. I do make the videos when I can, when I've got the urge, because sometimes there's so many people now doing Star Citizen videos, you know, not just the major players. You think of a video and you see that it's been done, you know, a Freelancer Max walkthrough, or one of the other ships. So many ship guides, you know. I only like to do videos if I can think of more original stuff. Maybe I'll just talk a bit more from now on, because talking is always going to be original, isn't it? So until next time, you take care, and hopefully I'll see you all somewhere out in that Star Citizen universe. Bye for now.